Hey, y'all, I'm Ebony K. Williams here, host and attorney extraordinaire. Welcome to Holding Court, where we analyze the very latest in legal headlines, the ones that got all the streets talking. You know what we do? We dig deep into how the courts impact the culture. We break it down, going straight from gavel to your news feed. And every week, we keep it 100. Right, Dustin Ross?
That's right.
All right, Dustin Ross, my love. I know you are doing fabulous because you look it, but tell me one thing that you are looking forward to this spring season.
The spring season, my Benadryl working and my Opcon A eye drops working because spring is a season of battle for me. I am an embattled co-host
You fighting for
during
your
the
life?
spring. I'm
Dustin
fighting
fighting
for
for
my
his
damn
life?
life, and sometimes my arms are too short to box. So what I'm looking forward to this spring is an allergy season of ease and just preventative measures so that I can get out and enjoy the beautiful new season of spring upon us, because I do love that.
I love
Yeah.
that
So what
too. I
about
love
you?
spring. Spring is my favorite season for that same reason. I'm a fall baby. I know I was born in September, so that's my second favorite season. I'm also a nerd, so I love the back to school vibes of it all.
Mhm.
But I have to tell you something. Spring did not become my favorite season until I moved to New York. I
Okay.
think there is something for me, Dustin Ross, very special about springtime in New York City. It feels like anything is possible.
Yes,
It
Ebony, I
feels like
agree.
anything is possible, right?
Yeah.
Oh, I got chills when I just said that.
It is. It is. Well, if it's in you, it's in you. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And so you happen to be one of those people that can sense that and then take action. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So that's why you feel that inside of you. It makes you come alive. I understand.
Mhm,
Mm-hmm.
mhm, mhm, mhm. Okay, well, shit now I'm on something. Yeah, I got the feel
Mm-hmm.
good on. Okay, so
Mm-hmm.
jurors, docket for the day. Good news to report. Donald Trump lost his bid to have the Exonerated Five, the defamation suit that the five brothers filed against him. Trump was trying to get it dismissed, and the judge said not on his watch. So many of the claims in the suit filed by the Exonerated Five have passed initial muster, and they will proceed to trial. And so, yes, Donald Trump will have to stand accountable legally for the accusations of defamation against these five men. So we'll get into the details of that, why the judge ruled that way, and what is next.
Mm-hmm.
Also, DMX's ex-wife, Tashera Simmons, she had a legal loss and also a legal victory, and I want to get into both of them. She was unsuccessful on a battle around some copyright access to his music catalog, and but what she was successful around X owing some child support upon the time of his death, and she will be able to move forward on that claim. But the reason I put this DMX story on the docket is really I want a broader conversation, Dustin, with the jurors and between us around what we need to be doing while we're still alive before we are unalived regarding our estates. And this, as we
Yeah.
know, is really just not for famous folks. It's not for rich folks. And DMX was far from even rich when he passed. But this is really something we have to get serious about. I'm having more and more and more conversations with our peer group. I'm talking about the early 40s, mid 40s types, and almost none of us would know what to do.
Yeah.
We wouldn't even know where to start if our parents passed, and
Mm-hmm.
or heaven forbid if we were to pass. What
Yeah,
have we
Ebony.
put in place? What have we put in place?
It's
What have we put in
important.
place? Yeah, so we got to talk about that. Okay, here we go. All right, again, I am happy to report, and I'm not going to even act unhappy about it. I'm absolutely happy to report that Donald Trump will have to move forward legally with the current accusation, the civil lawsuit filed by the Exonerated Five, formerly known as the Central Park Five. The five gentlemen have sued Donald Trump civilly for defamation. Now, this suit, Dustin, as you might remember, is related to statements that Donald Trump made last year during the 2024 presidential debate versus then Vice President Kamala Harris. Kamala Harris brought up the Exonerated Five, rightfully, in context around one of the reasons that Donald Trump can't be trusted
Right.
with anything, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is because this is the man that took out a full page ad in the New York Times to literally try to get these five, at the time, young teens killed at the hands of New York state government, literally tried to and called for the death penalty to come back. Lest y'all forget, New York didn't even have the death penalty at the time. Trump felt some kind of way so much about it that he called on New York State to bring the death penalty back just to kill these 5 young men. My God, just let it, because some of y'all know that, but I don't think y'all know all of that, or you certainly don't act like you understand the depravity.
This was heavy, deep, intentional, murderous, debilitating racism at its worst. That's what
It's
this
most
was.
lethal.
This was not, it was not the casual, I hate to term it as such, but it was not the casual racism that we're
Just
used
look
to.
thugs. Yeah, this was way
This was
beyond
some
that.
real deal
Yeah.
shit, and I think because it has been commodified as a television series, because it has been media fodder,
Reframed as a
reframed.
feel-good story
I
for
don't
some
think
folks.
people really get it. I'm glad you said it like that, Ebony. This
Yeah.
was deep.
As
Okay,
hell.
what he did, it was deep, and that's
Yeah.
why we're talking about it.
Yeah.
I
And it's
hate that
one of
that's
the
getting
more
lost.
successful talking points against Trump. And I
Yeah.
know this from firsthand experience because when he was running the first time, so this was 2016 election, I was still working as a political and legal analyst at Fox News Channel at that time. And I used to have a weekly segment on Bill O'Reilly's show, The O'Reilly Factor. And one of the times I was like, Miss Williams, you know, the black, I'm hearing so many people say that he's racist, but I haven't seen anything Trump's done as racist. What say you? I said, well, here's the thing, Bill. Here's the thing, Bill. I don't think that people are beyond scope to question whether or not Donald Trump is racist when, in addition to the years-long backlog of civil litigation against Trump and his father for refusing to rent to black tenants in their housing properties. There's that. But much more egregious, I would say, is the Central Park Five of it all, where this man called for New York State to bring back a death penalty that they no longer even had at the time, just to kill these 5 young black and brown young men / teenagers. I think when people see that, they have every right to ask whether or not he is racist or conclude as such. And even Bill, here's the real point of the story. Bill really couldn't even say shit to that. Couldn't say shit. Well, moving on, you know, because there's no real retort to that, which is why when Kamala Harris landed the plane so eloquently in the debate, all Trump could say, and I want y'all to hear his words for it. Trump says all this.
They admitted, they said, they pled guilty. And I said, well, if they pled guilty, they badly hurt a person, killed a person ultimately. And if they pled guilty, then they pled, we're not guilty.
So once Trump says they pled guilty and they hurt a person, killed a person ultimately, that is where the defamation comes in, jurors, okay? Because defamation on its face is essentially lying, defaming, misstating, falsely accusing, falsely stating things against another. And the only real defense of defamation is that it is the truth. And Donald Trump certainly cannot argue that it is the truth, because let's start with the first basic fact, Dustin Ross. Nobody was killed. Nobody was killed. Horrible crime, no doubt. Brutal rape, absolutely. But no one was killed. This young lady was not killed. So you lied out the gate. Number two, not one of these young boys, young men, pled guilty. And it's really pleaded. So none of these young men pleaded guilty. They all went to trial and they were found guilty. So you lied a second time on them. They did not kill anyone. They actually didn't do anything. No one was killed. They were by DNA. This wasn't just, well, we couldn't prove it. No. DNA actually legally exonerated them.
How about that? So you just straight up lying, motherfucker. You're just lying.
Lying over and over. You lied when you said they killed somebody. You lied when you implied they did something bad. When the state and you know the state don't like to admit when they're wrong, but the state of New York had to admit it so bad that they paid out.
York, might we
New
add.
York, right? The same Sean Bell, New York. By the way, let's put some context on this shit, y'all. Please act like y'all know something about this, please. That same New York had to pay out millions of dollars to each one of these young men because they got it so wrong, because they are factually and scientifically innocent, not just not guilty. They are innocent. Hence why when you walk in one of the entrances to Central Park, the beloved Central Park, you're going to read the Exonerated Five. It is
That's
they
right.
have literally renamed that part of the entrance to the park after these young men.
That's right.
That's how innocent they are. And how to this day, Donald and to the day of this accusation, Donald Trump can't even form his mouth to admit it. Still lying on them. Still saying, well, they pleaded guilty, so they must have hurt and killed somebody. Sir, no one was killed and they didn't plead guilty. Okay? What instead happened, well, let me finish up the legal of this and then I want to get into what I really want jurors to take from this case because this is
Mhm.
way bigger than fucking Trump. Their lawsuit, this is the Exonerated Five, said that the statement has demonstratively false statements, again, because they never pleaded guilty and they never did. And again, the victim of the assault, which was not their victim, by the way, but indeed the victim was not killed. So Trump lied throughout the whole statement in front of a gazillion people because this was a televised, national debate for a national presidency in the United States of America, seen worldwide. Seen worldwide.
One of the largest media stages for a voice to be heard on. The lies reached
Yep.
very far and to people who are very easily influenced and who don't know anything about the actual facts connected to this. So he was wrong as hell. That's the
Wrong
point that
as
I'm
hell.
making.
And really,
Yeah.
again, very, very, very detrimental. And the damage, because that's lawsuit wise, y'all, when we're talking about defamation, the courts
Mhm.
and the jury, they're really going to be looking to assess the damages piece. That's very
Mhm.
important, not just the action, but the damages argument here, baby, I would love to make it. Extraordinary damages, just especially one of them is a sitting councilman. This my councilman, Dr. Yusuf Salon.
Yeah.
He's
Yeah.
certainly represents the District 9.
Yeah.
I think he's your councilman too, Dustin.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
You know, these people have esteemed careers and positioning in the world. You can't just be out here calling people murderers
Well, they
and
must
shit.
have murdered somebody. Oh my God.
Just a
It's
mess.
so infuriating. I've been really trying to limit and filter my
Yeah.
exposure to
Yeah.
all the harm connected to that fool. And when I do hear his voice or see him saying things, it's infuriating to say the
Yeah.
least. So
It
hearing
is
him talk about
absolutely
them and lie
disgusting.
about them, I hope they get everything that they deserve
Absolutely.
and
I
some.
hope that he gets everything that his fucking ass deserves. So also, like I said, Juris, the real, because this is much bigger than Trump. To your point, Dustin, we ain't even gonna spend no more time on his fat ass. What this is
Mhm.
really about is because I need y'all to know that in this particular case with these young men, and I want to say their names just because some of y'all need to
Mhm.
really,
Mhm.
really know how this really the full breadth and scope of this. So like I said, so this of course was this was Raymond Santana, Yusuf Salam,
Mhm.
Corey Wise, and Corey was like 17, I think. So he was the oldest of them. And so he had the most brutal experience and was placed in adult prison versus the other young men were in juvenile facilities. Kevin Richardson and Antron McCraw.
Mhm.
Those are the brave men who have
Yeah.
now become the Exonerated Five and went through so
Patriots
much.
even. I'd
They
like
are
to say they're
patriots. They are
patriots.
absolute patriots. They're absolute advocates for justice. They are
Yeah.
the shining example of what it looks like and their families, Dustin, their legal teams, what it looks like to make this country
Mhm.
stand on business and
Mhm.
provide the justice that it claims it cares so much about.
You know, my good friend, one of the smartest women I know, my dear friend Ebony K. Williams, taught me
Go on.
about reclaiming
Yeah.
language when it comes to American history, our rights as
Mhm.
Americans, and our stake in this motherfucker that we've been forced to experience, right? So
Right.
what happened to them was a travesty against the American people,
I
against
totally agree.
Americans.
Yeah.
And
How
so
how
as
absolutely
Americans,
how
you know,
absolutely un-American. How
how
absolutely
un-American that they did that
un-American.
to those patriots. Those men are based on what they've been through and
Mhm.
survived, the resilience that they've displayed, the just willingness to continue after something so unfair and
Heinous.
tragic happened to them. That right there is what we call patriotism. And
Absolutely.
then
And that's one of
working
the
in
reasons that
government.
Yusuf, I was gonna say, that's one of the reasons that Yusuf is sitting in City Hall right now.
That's right. So them patriots deserve better.
Recognition.
And I
Yep.
hope they get their damages from him because they were damaged
They
by
were
by
damaged.
his lies. So
Absolutely. Yeah. And
get
and by the
money,
way,
niggas. Yeah.
I love it. Yeah, and the judge agreed. So that's why Trump's request for this piece of the lawsuit to be dismissed and thrown out was rejected, and the court said that there was enough evidence to proceed accordingly. So this
Mm-hmm.
case, this lawsuit will live to fight another day, and we will absolutely keep y'all updated on it. But again, this is what I need y'all to know, jurors, beyond Trump and beyond these particular facts of this
Mm-hmm.
case. In this case, these 5 black men, these 5 patriots, they did not plead guilty, and that's why they're moving forward with the defamation claim against Trump, because he said they pleaded guilty. But I need y'all to know that sometimes people do plead guilty and they didn't do it, or they're
Mm-hmm.
factually innocent. And do not take my word for it. I want to refer you to the Innocence Project. And we're going to put this data in the show notes. This is how much I need y'all to get this shit. This is beyond just, my legal experience or my take or my analysis. These are important statistics and absolute concrete legal facts that I need a cultural shift around.
Mm-hmm.
Because right now, where it stands, not just in Black culture, but in cultural throughout the land, people feel like if you plead guilty, you must be guilty. And I need y'all to know that that is often not the case. So
Mm-hmm.
let's go through these facts. 95% of all felony convictions, and it's even higher for misdemeanors. So that means 95%, almost all convictions in our country are obtained because somebody pleaded guilty. So that's
Mm-hmm.
95% of the time. Only 5% of all cases go to trial. Said another way.
Mm-hmm.
So with 95% of folks saying, I'm guilty, let's get on with it. I want you to think about the number of exonerees that plead guilty. So that's going to be, a lot. Only 15% of people that are ultimately exonerated from their convictions have pleaded guilty. Only 15% of people but 15% is a lot.
I was just getting ready to say that. That's a
Right.
lot.
Right. 15% of people who are factually innocent, because in order to be exonerated, you have to be found factually innocent. That's not
Mm-hmm.
just there was and I hate this term, but it's colloquial. That's not just a technicality.
Right. No, it's factual. Yeah.
This is actual exonerated individuals
Mm-hmm.
who said under the threat of perjury that they did something, and 15% of them didn't even fucking do it. Let that seep into your brain. And
Yeah.
beyond that, let's not even start on false confessions and inherently unreliable confessions, because that's what Trump meant to probably. Well, he didn't. He said what the fuck he said, so I'm not going to defend
Right.
him. But
Right.
but many people that didn't catch that was a lie was like, well, they did say that. No. They did not plead guilty.
Mhm.
What they did was falsely confess to a
After they were
crime
coerced to. Yeah.
to a crime that they did not commit.
Mm-hmm.
And then for those of you wondering, well, why would you say you did something that you didn't do? You
Mm-hmm.
already hit it, Dustin. Coercion. Well, what does
Yeah.
legal coercion look like? Because it's a real thing. Well, how would you respond after you have been held in a cold, dark, wet, dirty, nasty, stinking ass, cold clay room for
As a
16
child,
hours?
might I add, as a
Right, right,
child.
right. 16 hours, 24 hours, 32 hours, no sleep, no food. And when they tell you, as in this case, literally under 18 years old, every last one of them, you're a literal child. You have your frontal lobe, again, we keep talking about it, it's very important. Your
Mhm.
full cognitive ability not even developed. Let's make it bigger than the Exonerated Five. Oftentimes, even grown folks, low IQ, intellectual deficiencies,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
not completed their education.
Fear in general. Fear
Absolute
on the
fear,
most basic levels. Fear,
absolute
intimidation.
intimidation. This is law
Yeah.
enforcement. They're
Violence.
uniformed. They got on the police uniform. They have on the suit and tie. You know, they in your face. They're
Mhm.
lying to you. Catch this tea, y'all. They're telling you, if you just tell us you did it, we'll understand. We'll call your mom. She'll come get you, and you can go home.
Yep.
And let me tell y'all, let me get my Joe Biden whisper on. Let me tell y'all something. It's legal to do. Yeah.
Yep.
Per case law. I remember being shocked when I found this out in law school, Dustin. And this is me finding it out in real time as a law student at Loyola University College of Law in New Orleans.
Mm-hmm.
While I was making an argument for one of my appellate classes, I said, I know this case book fucking lying. I know it's fucking lying. I know I did not just read that there is affirmed case law in our nation that says that police and law enforcement can legally lie to suspects and detainees in an effort to obtain a confession. They can tell you you can go home. They can tell you your homeboy already told on you. In fact, let's go back to the Exonerated Five for 1 second. They said this. This is an op-ed that they took out, by the way,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
back in like 2021 when they were asking for New York to do something about how common and often confessions are coerced. They said it's hard to imagine why anybody would confess to a crime they didn't commit. But when you're in that interrogation room, everything changes. During
Yes.
the hours and hours and hours of relentless questioning that each of us endured, detectives lied to us repeatedly. They said that they had already matched our fingerprints to a crime scene evidence. They told each of us that the other had confessed and implicated us in the attack. They said if we just admitted to participating, we could go home. Let me say that part again. They said if we just admitted to participating in the attack, we could go home.
Mm,
And
mm,
all
mm.
of those were blatant lies.
Mm, mm, mm.
And what I'm telling y'all, if you didn't fucking already know, and you probably didn't, because why would you know? That is legal. That is not misconduct by the police. That
Mm.
is a legal, permissible
Tactic. Yeah.
interrogation tactic. Yes.
Mm-hmm. Fucked up.
I hope
True.
y'all pass this episode on to somebody. I swear to God, I hope y'all do.
Me too. Put it in the hand of the man so that they know. People need to know
And
that what
and
they're up
mamas
against.
need to know this. Mamas need
Yes.
to know this. Daddies need to know this.
Yes. Yep.
Wealthy, the well-to-do need to know this.
Yep.
The
Yep.
impoverished need to know this. The
Yep.
kids in Jack and Jill need to know this. The
Mm-hmm.
kids at the Boys and Girls Club need to know this. Y'all hearing this? They can lie to you. They will lie to you. They're trained to lie to you. That's a part of the training. That's a whole course. They do that.
And your life is in the balance.
So yeah, so that's really what this was on the docket for y'all. Yeah, Trump gonna have to, ride it out some more. But really, I need y'all to know that just because someone pleads guilty even doesn't mean they actually did it. It actually doesn't mean that. I know it seems like it should, but it doesn't.
It does not.
And the stats tell us that 15% of exonerated people lied on themselves. They
Yep.
said they did something they did not do. And beyond that, it's hard to even get numbers. But if we kinda 15 to up to 25%. Some data says 30% of all wrongful wrongful convictions, 30% almost of up to 30%, I should say, of all wrongful convictions in our country
Yep.
are because of false confessions, because somebody lied on themselves.
Mm.
All right, I'm gonna get off it now, but I
Y'all heard
really
her.
hope y'all pass that one on to somebody.
Y'all heard it.
Okay, next up in the estate of the late DMX, DMX's ex-wife rather, Tashera Simmons. She was successful on one front, but took an L on another. DMX's ex-wife, Miss Simmons, just lost a legal fight concerning his estate. So this was her v. his estate over ownership of the late legendary rapper's music, particularly his catalog. So Tashera filed suit last year, 2024, seeking 50% ownership stake in DMX's entire music catalog, as well as some other intellectual property components that she's arguing that she's entitled to 50% of, Dustin,
Mm-hmm.
per their 2016 divorce agreement.
Mm-hmm.
She's basically running the clock back. And we saw this recently with
Mm-hmm.
Journey Smollett's ex-husband, Josiah Bell, where he's trying to go back into the divorce archives of it all and claim rights around some shit that should have been adjudicated when the divorce was final. Because that,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm sure that's a part, it's not even I have to think. The judge says it eventually. I'll share it with you. Here in X's case, or Tashera Simmons's case, his ex-wife, if you wanted to make a claim around of any type of ownership, let alone 50% ownership stake in DMX's music catalog, because that is likely his biggest asset, the
Yeah.
time to do that, ma'am, would have been back in 2016,
Yeah.
right? When the
Yeah.
divorce itself was litigated and the community property of it all was divided.
Mm-hmm.
But running up in here damn near 10 years after the fact, and especially after the man is long gone, dearly departed,
Yeah. Like
unalived,
what?
not going to work. Not going to work. Go
Day
ahead.
late. It just feels like a day late and a few dollars short to me. You know what I mean? When
Mhm.
it comes to even trying, like you said, the time for that to be determined was when the terms were being negotiated, right?
Yes.
Of the divorce. What I
Yes.
didn't know you could come back and contest things like that.
Yeah. Well, listen, put this in the book of you tried it. And, as I said when we covered the Journey Smollett, hey, I ain't really mad at you for trying it because depending on your circumstances, you down bad, the tariffs are coming. Shit,
Yeah.
for real,
Why not? Shit.
why not? Throw everything at the wall, see what sticks. You're gonna try. People gonna try it, Dustin. We know this
Mhm.
anyway. People are going to try it. She tried it, but it will rarely, rarely, rarely succeed because of everything you just outlined. And in fact, the judge here, Judge David F. Everett, wrote this in his ruling. He says, the estate is the sole owner of all intellectual property rights that Earl Simmons, aka DMX, acquired during his marriage to the plaintiff, as well as any other trademarks and intellectual property rights that belonged to Earl Simmons at the time of his death. So he's saying the whole outright owner of 100% of the rights is the estate. Period.
Yep.
Period. And anything that you wanted to claim otherwise should have been done at the time of the divorce settlement. Okay? The judge went further in saying that under the circumstances of this case, the court will not, in effect, reopen those proceedings to reinterpret the parties' 2016 settlement agreement, particularly, let me remind you, where the party best positioned to contest a contrary interpretation is now deceased, aka unalived, aka dead and gone. Judge said, I will
Mm.
not be the one to potentially rule against the interests of a dead man.
Mhm.
Period. Now, where Miss Simmons did find some legal reprieve, she did have some victory in the sense that the same judge ruled against DMX's estate on their request to dismiss the ex-wife's child support claim. She was also in this same claim saying that DMX, upon his death, owed her $214,000 in child support. And the judge said that it would be very premature for him to dismiss that because if he owes it, he owes it. And so
Mhm.
let's have a proper hearing. Let's get more evidence and make a full determination of whether or not this debt has been satisfied or not. And if not, I believe, and this is me talking, not the judge, I do believe,
Mhm.
Dustin, that if she's able to show through evidence that clearly he owed it, that's why it's established. What we don't know if the estate has satisfied any of it, and if indeed they have not, I do believe the ex-wife, Miss Simmons, will get her $214,000 in child support arrears.
Well, that's good. That's good because that's definitely owed to her. So
I
there's no
agree.
question about that. Should be
I
more.
agree.
Ain't no dead fee you can put on that. Ain't no. You
Like a
can't
like a
put.
you checked out early fee.
Yeah, like they died too. So here's the extra
Yeah.
50K. They can't do that. You know what I'm
I don't
saying?
know.
She need
I
a.
know, but
Yeah.
what's funny is I don't think they can do that. But what they can do, depending on their overall financial picture,
Yeah.
if they were minors when DMX passed, of course, just like anybody else in the country, she should be able to avail herself to Social Security benefits,
Oh,
death
for sure.
benefits.
Yeah. Well, if
Yeah,
we got them, those. So
yeah,
if we got them left,
still
maybe
got
she.
them. Correct.
Yeah.
That's real as fuck. That's a big if there's still anything there. So that's it. That's all, y'all. I really hope, like I said, y'all heard I kind of got on one with the coerced confessions of it all, with the innocent while pleading guilty of it all, because that's some heavy shit. And I've watched it with my own two eyes. I've seen what it looks like. I've seen what it can do to people's lives. And we need to have more awareness around it, y'all. So stop saying dumb shit like, well, if they said they did it, they did it. Just stop saying that. Because it's often not true. Sometimes it's true, but it is often not true. And I will remind you, jurors, of a creed that those of us that stand on business in the law subscribe to. And that is this: better 1,000 guilty men go free than but one innocent man be wrongfully incarcerated. And any lawyer worth their salt will agree with that. And per that, we must do better on these issues. All right, that's it. I'm gonna get off of it, y'all. We'll see you next time. Court will be back in session.
Yes, we
in
will.
the meantime, stay safe. Enjoy this abundant season of renewal and opportunity, known as spring, known as resurrection.
That's right.
Coming up soon. It's the Holy Week, I guess, as we record this and this airs. And what would you like the people to do, Dustin?
Drink communion wine this week and read the terms and conditions.
We love it. Also known as Welch's grape juice where I'm from.
Yep, and Hennessy where I'm from, because that's what I'm celebrating with. But anyway, yes.
That too. Holding Court is produced by Uppity Productions. Host and executive producers here, Ebony K. Williams, yours truly, and the Dustin Ross. Executive producer in Dossie, McCraw. We've also got our senior producer, Ashley Hobbs. And follow us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and any and everywhere you get your podcasts.